Changing the way you watch TV.
What's going on, my people? It's your guy Troublematic back with another Matic Mondays. Happy New Year. This is the first show of the year. You had MLK, and then I think I was probably out of the country somewhere or something, but we had a lot of things going on. So this is actually the first show of the year. I'm thankful to start it off with a banger. I got my co-host who is not here temporarily stepping in. We have my guy Kesey, going back like 4 Cadillac seats down, like 4 flat tires. My guy from the Sports Net, 2 Live Stews, Sports Network from what is that? 2016, 17? I've been listening to Stews for a minute, man. So yeah, man. So we've able to connect careers, and I wanted to bring him on for this show today. Why you should start a career in cybersecurity in 2023. And for the returning people, I appreciate y'all coming back to check me out, support the channel, support BS3 Network. New people, what my channel is about, it's a lot of hodgepodge of stuff. It's about traveling, it's about IT, it's about remote work, but primarily in this live stream, we talk about remote work, digital nomad, tech stuff, traveling while working, all of that kind of under the umbrella. So, and who I have here, his partner, Tolan. I appreciate him coming on. I told Kesey, anybody you can bring on that look like me and you, definitely bring us on. Because I'm trying to be an advocate for pushing, especially Black brothers, into IT. Because the lady tapped me on the shoulder one time and said, "Hey, you could come to IT. It's not a lot of brothers there. You can make some good money." And I'm like, "Well, how much money you talking? What's good?" And she told me the number, and I said, "Oh yeah, sign me up." just talk numbers to me, and I'll go ahead and make it work. So. But I welcome you, Tolan, too, as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, so Kesey, what's going on with you, man? Tell everybody about yourself while we wait for Sports and Heels to come on. She'll be coming in a little later on this chat.
All right, cool. So yeah, I'm Mr. Technology. I guess I'm technology driven. That's my passion. IT guy by heart. Been in IT almost 25 plus years. Also, that's how I met my guy Eddie Mo 2.0, Mr. Troublematic, through the podcast. I'm actually run my own podcast network, X Squad Radio Network. BS3 is also our cousins. That's our cousin network out there. So big ups to BS3 Ben, the big work he's been doing. And let's see. I guess I got my own podcast show, the Kicking It with Kesey show. But the big thing, and while we're here, is I'm running my own consulting company. Me and Tolan and my guy Frank run the Generational Technology Group, LLC, GTG. And we're actually trying to help, educate those that's out there about the field of technology, IT security more specifically, identity and access management even more specifically. But great field. It's a way to actually get to it, to make your dreams come true. Can't say it's not hard work. It's definitely work. But with that work, you can actually get to a 6-figure income.
The conversation you and I had, you were talking about, I am business analyst. I'm a business analyst by trade. Just that's what I've been doing for the last 10 years. And it's so broad. You can go data analyst, you can go business systems analyst, you can go technical analyst. But a few of those jobs would come in that would be IAM. And so it caused me to peek over there to look at, like, what is IAM? And it's a whole nother world. It's out of my lane. I'm more of a software guy. So the software is usually already embedded with certain security levels in it. I don't really have to do it from like a network perspective. I passed that over to him. So looking at it, it was kind of intimidating. It was like, I was like, because like how you think, we had that conversation of a few weeks ago that you thought the BA world was kind of like, you could just, jump into it's two big worlds, the security world and the BA world. And so I was like, man, I need to just go ahead and bite the bullet and jump in there. But told him, go ahead and jump in, man. Tell us about yourself as well.
Okay, how you guys doing? I'm Tolan Howard. Been in IT for a little bit over 20 years myself. I started out in the Marine Corps, did 14 years in the Marines. I was in IT in the Marines. Got into cybersecurity back in 2017, more specifically at SunTrust, now Truist, and that's where I met PC and Frank. We came in together on a project for our CA-PAM, our Privileged Access Management tool, and we just clicked. And so, from there, when we all parted there, we all kept contact, and it was about the end of 2021. I think I sent Keys a message and was like, hey man, we need to start our own company. And he was like, man, me and my wife were just talking about that. So it's like we were both thinking the same thing. And so this year, or 2022, we just decided to start the groundwork, and now we off and running. Like you said, we're trying to bring a lot of us into this space because there is not a lot of us. And I've been to conferences, been to different conferences, and especially not just the cybersecurity field, but more specifically, like Keezy said, the identity access, privileged access field. It's not a lot of us in that field. Because the fact is, it's not a new field, but it's the field that a lot of companies are actually starting to finally take seriously. And so we're trying to get as many people as we can trained, certified, and get them into this part of the industry.
That's a good word you just said. Phrase, taking it seriously, and that's why that's the business mind I have going on now with the cybersecurity. Why I'm so a little bit more eager than I was before, because you see a lot of these corporations being hacked.
Yes.
You see a lot of like the U.S. grid is at stake right here with a lot of these old antiquated systems that they have, and they're not taking it serious until I think I was telling Keisha about the Atlanta city of Atlanta was held. Tola, are you in Atlanta?
Yeah, I am.
Okay. Y'all probably remember the cybersecurity attack that happened to the city of Atlanta, and y'all remember that? It's probably 2018 or something like that. But they had them ransom for like I want to say about 15 Bitcoins or something like that. No, about 100 Bitcoins, something like that. They had them some they wanted in Bitcoin, the ransom.
Yeah.
And these systems, like especially these old federal systems, because I'm in the federal space now, and a lot of these systems are very old. I was at Equifax, Equifax system probably hadn't been, well, really they've been kind of layering it with other platforms.
Yeah.
But the backbone of it is like from the 60s. And they use all these other systems to kind of protect it, but it could still get hacked. And then which it did. And you saw how that really impacted a lot of people.
Yeah, just like that pipeline, when they held that pipeline from ransom. Unfortunately, it takes stuff like that for companies to realize, hey, we got to get some kind of protection in place, some type of real protection in place.
Right. Well, let me go to the chat because see Tiffany not here. She be running through the chat. So I gotta do two hats in here tonight. We got to shout out to Mocha Bella. What's going on? Tiffany's not here. She's coming in though, hopefully. Professor X and Tolan. Yes. There you go. Speak of the devil. We just talking about Ben. Chief in the building. Sorry about your Giants, bro. Sorry, man. Sorry about your Giants. Yes. I know, like myself, I was more eager for this show than anything because I told you, Kesey, that I had went and got the Security Plus because I was kind of like, you kind of gave me like a path, and then I was looking at other paths because of looking at my background. Whenever I'm kind of doing the same thing as you, but not on a bigger scale like that.
Yeah.
I don't have the time. I'm still working on my craft. I take onesie twosies and mentor them, and I always tell them like, don't throw away the baby with the bathwater. Especially if you're in your 30s, you're in your 40s, you have a lot of experience. Whether it's if you was driving Amazon trucks, if you was on the phones in the call center, you have somewhere you can take those skills and transfer them to an IT role. So I try to take the same mindset with me with more of a software guy, project guy, like what role can have me to be in certain projects. And then I started to look deeper into like why I actually should get into cybersecurity even more, because I had been working on like 2 or 3 projects that were already in the cybersecurity realm, like GDPR, European Data Act. If you're familiar with that, as I start to dig deeper into it, these things are coming up. GDPR, one called FedRAMP, which is a federal, it's kind of tied with the federal government and FedEx. I'm not FedEx, but Equifax. And, but FedRAMP is a framework of cybersecurity. So a lot of oversight in the NAIST. Was it Glaxo something? A lot of those frameworks we had to do in Equifax or know of them. So I was like, man, I'm already like I got my toe in there already that I didn't even know it. So with somebody with no experience, what is your experience? What would you guide them to say to do actually with getting into the field?
You want to start that, Tony?
Yeah. So from just based on some of the things I've seen, and more specifically some of the things I've experienced with my son, with Kesey's son. My son is 20. He no college or anything. He got a certification. He studied. He got a certification with CyberArk, and he was able to get an entry-level position just based on that certification. Now, if that's not a route you want to go, there are so many different options out there, like as far as Google certifications, Udemy, different classes that you can go and take just to give you an introduction into cybersecurity. And a lot of times companies, if they see you have a willingness and an ability to learn, sometimes within your own company, you can transfer into the cybersecurity department and they will train you, do on-the-job training and bring you up that way. So just if you're working somewhere, I would say express an interest in it. Go to the IT department, let them know that you're interested in it. Ask them like what's your best course of action to get transferred to that department, because a lot of companies they do like to transfer within. Working, like I said, working at SunTrust, a lot of the people, there were a couple people in our department who started out as tellers, but they were able to make that transition over successfully into IT. It's just, don't be intimidated. It's easy to be intimidated by IT because people think of it as this super duper hard thing, but it's such a vast field. If you get in on the ground, which is basic desktop support, you'll really start to see just how easy it is. Like some of the stuff you do every day. You think about a lot of the times when you call tech support for your iPads or your desktops or your phone, a lot of those people are reading off scripts. And if they can't fix what the paperwork tells them to do, that's when they tell you, we're gonna, give this to tier 2 or this tier, and we're gonna transfer your ticket and you'll get somebody to call you back. So that is always an option, just starting off on that basic level. Because like I said, they're gonna give you a script, tell the user to do this. If that doesn't work, tell them to do this. If that doesn't work, tell them to do this. It's one of those things where when you're in IT and you're on the phone with somebody, you want them to really just like, hey, just give me permission so I can do what I need to do, because I know what to do. You're going off the script. So just talk to your people around you. And if you're not working, like I said, just go Google that certifications. The field, the technology that we work on more specifically, it's called CyberArk, ARK, CYBERARK. Go to cyberark.com. They actually have a basic certification that's free. It's called Trusty, and it teaches you the basis of the program. If you go out there and you just learn what privileged access management is about, and that'll get your foot in the door.
So there's a caveat to the internal transfer that he was speaking about. It can be done. However, I probably would go in there and get the experience and then leave the company. I mean, just keeping it 100%, because when you transfer internally, say you're working in a department and you're in, I don't know, you're a teller or you're whatever it is, you're an internal employee, some reason the transfer as far as the salary never transfers right. You know what I mean? Because you're already an employee there. So they're not going to jump you up from, say you're making $40,000 at this, and then your job that you're going to maybe make $100,000. An external employee will get that $100,000, but because you're internal, they're gonna like, okay, yeah, we're gonna give you a 5% raise. Like, wait a minute, these other people get $100,000. So that's that. I would, if I transferred internally, I would get the experience and then use that to go somewhere else. That's just my thoughts on that one.
It is the truth. Sometimes they say you have to leave a company to get paid, and sometimes you have to leave and come back. Because like I said, when you transfer internally, they look at it like, okay, we don't have to go out there and find a resource who knows their worth, because this person doesn't think they're worth as much money because they're just coming over. But if you go out somewhere else, they're going to pay you based on what the industry standard. But like you said, if I'm transferred internally, they'll try to lowball you just because they know you're looking for them and they feel like you need them more than they need you at that point.
Correct. That is correct. And now the great thing, and I don't want to steer your show in any direction, but Travelmatic, I'm telling Tolan to have a background. Travelmatic actually has this great show where he actually speaks a lot about working remotely. That's kind of a lot of his basis around it. So me and Tolan get to enjoy that part of it, what we're doing, as far as you can certify and work remote and continue to build, and we're going to the other part of what we're able to do by working remotely. But back to you there.
Yes. Good stuff. There's a lot of caveats to this. Because it all falls on the IT, and IT is primarily most of your jobs that's remote are going to be IT. So it's more pay, it's remote working, Just some more. It can sometimes be, in my world, it's stressful. In the project world, when you're dealing with clients, it's stressful. They pay more money, more problems. That is definitely the same with that. But let me go to the chat. We got some people. We got my guy Brown Looking Baron. That's one of my guys here. I'm talking with and mentoring on transferring skills. He's doing fairly well. Like you were saying, you got to put in the work. So I keep telling him, like, you have to just put in the work, and it'll come. It's like Noah. If you build it, it'll come. Guy told me I called you in your voicemail, so I'm like, yeah, because it's full of recruiters. That's why. And I remember one time when a recruiter never called me. So I'm always thankful for having a full voicemail, because one time they couldn't call a brother for nothing, but now Mike Jones up in here, man. None of y'all own me. So yeah, that's my guy Jermaine. We got my other guy, Big J, another guy. I'm talking to a lot. He wants to be more on the digital nomad side. Data entry type business or whatever, data entry type business for his flow and how he wants to do things that will help his lifestyle be a lot better. I appreciate the donation, brother. He's out of that's Euro. He threw me some euros over here.
Nice.
He's based in London, England, and we have Mocha Bella again saying hi, and we have leverage to say I may leave, so use your leverage. Okay. Oh yeah. You can do that too. But I mean, most of the time they'll be like, it depends if you are a Python developer that is senior and you built them pipelines yourself. Hey, they'll pay you whatever you want to pay.
Yeah, and I can speak on that part from personal experience with SunTrust. When myself, Keezy, when we started that project, I went in full time. They came in as contractors. 6 months into the contract, I get a phone call from a recruiter for a job opening in my job. And so he didn't tell me, they were still trying to bring people on. Wow. And so we're talking about the job, and then he tells me how much they're paying, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then I say, who is it with? And he's like, it's with SunTrust. And I'm like, that's where I work now. He's like, oh man, you might want to ask for more money then.
Wow.
I ended up going to my manager and like, hey, so I just got on the phone with a recruiter, and they told me this is how much y'all got the job out there for now, but y'all brought me on it at this salary, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, okay, so what are we gonna do? Had a little back and forth. It went about 3 to 6 months. Finally came back and they were like, well, we can't increase your pay. So I ended up leaving and going somewhere for, around the same amount that the recruiter called me for, because it was at that point I realized, hey, they were willing to go out and bring somebody else in, but not willing to give me a raise because I hadn't met the time frame on the job and stuff like that. So I left.
Well, too, before we give our introduction to Tiffany, a lot of times situation, I'm not saying you was in the situation, but a lot of times while like contract, me and Tiffany talks about contract, and it's a mindset when you work these contracts, because you can do a 6-month contract around the 5th month, you sitting a little tight. You trying to figure out, so I always tell people you can make a lot of money. Sometimes you can make more than you really need in this IT game. So just put some to the side. Just put some to the side, and you like and be confident in yourself. You know what I'm saying? That I used to always negative ego would come in like, man, I don't know if they're gonna bring a brother home. And I started to look at other people, and I'm like, I'm walking circles around these dudes. Like nobody can outwork me. None of these Asian guys can hold up to me. None of these white guys can hold up to me. You know, but it takes you back to that slavery mentality.
Yeah, they call that imposter syndrome, where you feel like you're not good enough to be where you at.
Yes, and you just sit there and be complacent because you think it's safe. You can't be. A wise man always say you're never going to be blessed being comfortable. You have to step outside your comfort zone, and everything will work out. So, you know, if you want more money, go for more money. If you don't, if you get more money, and it's a terrible job, and you learn, you're probably going to learn a new task there, or a new software, or a new framework, and you just go to the next one, and you'll find your happy spot after a while. Go ahead.
So there's one or two things to add in there. One thing is for probably me and Tolan have, I don't know, our industry, I ain't gonna say tamper proof, but for the most part, like everything that we've been on, you know, it's been a rotating contract. It's like they just renew it. You know what I mean? It's not, we never get to that point where they're like, okay, I don't know if we're gonna be able to continue, or, you know, it's getting tight. For what we do, it's like they hitting us up and they're renewing it. And we don't have to ask nothing. It just keeps renewing. And at some point you might get, you know, you might go permanent from, you know, the contract to hire type situation, if it's that.
I didn't know that. I didn't know contract.
Yeah, most of ours are contract to hire positions. Like 90% of the time, it'll be 3 months contract to hire, 6 months contract to hire, or it'll say 1 year with possible extension and 1 year to hire. So a lot of the times in the cyber, on our side, especially with what we're doing, like I said, a lot of those contracts, they're looking to bring you on perm, but they want to see how you're going to work out first.
Yeah, it's like a filling out process. And it goes both ways. Like, they might not like you, but you might not like it. You know what I mean? There's certain jobs where I just rolled out. I might, because of the contractor, I ain't do necessarily 2 week notice. You know what? I'm done Friday. I'm done in the next couple of days. And they ain't on my resume. Like, oh well.
You do a 3 or 6 month contract, you find something else in the middle of that contract, hey, you drop that and go to the next thing, and hey, just leave it off your resume.
Yep.
Ooh, yeah. We need to talk more often. But hey, hold up. We need to give back the co-host seat to my girl Tiffany Sports and Heels. What's going on, girl?
What's good? Can y'all hear me?
We hear you.
Yeah.
Okay. Happy New Year. I know it's January 23rd, but this is my first time seeing y'all. So happy New Year to everybody.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, Tiffany.
How y'all doing, fellas? I see y'all kicking off the show without me.
We doing well.
I see.
We're trying to hold it down with you. Your absence. I told you was coming in shortly, so
yeah. I wanted to chime in real quick. Y'all talking about contracting. For those of you who have the desire, it's not for the faint of heart. It's not at all. You do definitely have to be a strong will, strong mind. You definitely have to plan for the unexpected. Meaning, you need to make sure you put money aside, because contracting, you know, obviously. Companies like Google and with their 12,000 layoffs recently, and you know, Microsoft and Amazon and Tesla and, you know, Twitter, obviously working as a FTE employee or a full-time employee for that company doesn't really provide you that much security, but you need to have less security when you're a contractor.
That's true.
Because contract means I can be working for you on Monday, and by Friday I'm not working for you. And that's just how it is. So it's not for the faint of heart. But I will tell you, the advantages can at times outweigh. I personally think contracting right now with all of these layoffs is a good thing, because they're not looking for full-time employees, right? They still need people to do the work, right? But they're more apt to bring in a contractor who they can bring in for 3 to 6 months versus somebody who they have to hire on and give benefits and all of that. So if you're going to get into contractor, I think now, especially in tech, now's the time to do it. But again, understand that you are playing with house money at all times. And so you're going to have to stack the cards in your favor by making sure that you're saving money, that you're constantly always interviewing. You should never not be interviewing, even as an FTE employee, which means you constantly keep a stream of recruiters and potential employers in rotation, because you just never know. You know, I've been blessed to be on the contracts for 2 years, 2.5 years, but that's an anomaly. That's not very often. And I was even offered a full-time, come on board full-time role. I declined. That might make me a fool, but I don't know. We're gonna find out. But you got to be willing to take those kind of risks for what the life that you're trying to live for yourself. So that's what I mean by it's not for the faint of heart. It's definitely a different kind of hustle than just looking for a job. But going into something like cybersecurity, kicking it back to our subject here, will give you that kind of leverage, because you'll get a lot of knowledge. You get these 6-month contracts under your belt, a couple of those, then it's going to increase not only your pay, but your knowledge base and your marketability.
Right. Let me give a shout out to Old Country Boy with the $2 he sent me. I appreciate you. That is anything is thankful in my books. We got Classically Slowed. Appreciate you coming, Classically Slowed. We call you the big CS in the house for the first time. We got Cedric Galloway, another Stewie.
Hold on, say it.
Stewie's represent.
Yes. And who else?
We got Tiffany Poodle in Portland.
Oh, there she go. Happy New Year, Tiffany Poodle in Portland.
Her Chiefs are headed to play the Bengals in the playoff championship game.
Yes. I like Cincy. Cincy's hot right now. Of course, and
I'm here, so I know.
We got more with another one. Said he said, cool. But yeah, I put this up here, this framework, because I'm always trying to like teach and help people to kind of dumb it down for them. Because like for myself, when I looked into like certain roles, or you put in like cybersecurity, like all these other roles come up. You got IAM, you got information security analyst, you got cybersecurity analyst, you got cyber art engineer, you got, you have a lot of different domains and roles, and like I'm like, what do I,
where do you start? Yeah, where do you start?
And so I saw this, which kind of like is the framework, and it's like the base level of it, and how like where y'all may be in identity, the identified part with the IAM part, right?
Yeah. So the good thing is when you talk about certain certifications, you got your Security Plus. Now I worked a job, Indian-based company called Infosys. They sent me out for a boot camp at Purdue. I went to Purdue and did it was about 4 or 5 days. Then you had to go home and do the rest of it at the house remotely. But that course, because I was already in IAM, that course kind of opened my eyes up to the other sides of cybersecurity, where I had to do the vulnerability management, the penetration testing, the endpoint management. We had the red and the blue teams, and we actually were trying to hack like some Alexa devices in the room and all that type of stuff. So it was cool, you know what I mean? Ethical hacking and all the other stuff that we were kind of learning. But I had to do papers. Yeah, I had to do papers. I had to do all these different things. Like I was really in school. It was really rigid and really accelerated. But it kind of gave me the other half or the other sides of cybersecurity. So now I kind of understand it. And now I see that some of those certifications are kind of that same way, where they'll expose you to certain areas of it. At that point, you can pick which way you would like to go with. You can go identity access management, or you can go privileged access management, which is a subset of IAM, or you can do the vulnerability management or the penetration testing or whatever it is that you want to do. That's the cool part. You got areas and sub areas.
Yeah, right. And so that's why I wanted to get the Security Plus, because I feel like I could kind of go anywhere with that. It's a good base level to stand on. I want to go for I don't know if IAM is really for me, because I'm still trying to understand what you all do. So what do you do as an IAM professional?
So
cyber art or and name the tools that y'all use. Like CyberArk is just one tool, right? You may use Okta.
You have Okta, Ping Federate, SailPoint, but all of those fall under the identity access, privileged access management. So those are more on the protect side. And so that's why it's called access management. So what we do, essentially, we both work in CyberArk right now. We, like most companies, you're going to learn a little SailPoint, like I touched on SailPoint, HashiCorp, but all of those deal with protecting the credentials or protecting your logon information. So basically what privileged access management, so say when you go to work and you have a login, Adrian, whatever that login may be, that login to stop a hacker. So if a hacker gets your basic login account and you can do anything on the network, that hacker can do whatever you have permissions to do with your account. So what CyberArk does is it takes your privileges from your local account. So instead of my Tolan Howard account being able to execute programs, I would have a CyberArk account. So it may be called CA Tolan Howard. So I would have to log into CyberArk. You have to use what they call multi-factor authentication. You have several different tools that use that, whether it's Symantec, text message, stuff like that. So you will log into CyberArk through using whatever multi-factor authentication methods that your company has. You retrieve your password from there, and then you do whatever privilege stuff that you need to do. That way, if a hacker was to get access to your account, they can't do anything because they can't get your account from CyberArk. So we're more on the protection side of it with CyberArk.
Yeah. Let me break it down even further. What he was saying that's the privilege side. When we say identity access management, the most basic tool that pretty much a lot of IT is familiar with is Active Directory. Yeah. So when you first start a job, somebody got to give you credentials. When you first start your job, you're like, okay, you need a username, a password, and an email address to log into our system. So that is what the IAM, Identity Access Management team, now does. It used to be user access or whatever it was called back, 10, 15 years ago. Now IAM is actually now part of that. You know what I mean? The creation of your account, making sure the right person has the right role. So if you're in IT, you shouldn't have access to HR records or finance or marketing. So it's called role-based access that is being created here. So we're in charge of the creation of your account, make sure you have the right access in your account, and when you leave, the termination of your account.
So I want to talk to those people who are looking to see how you can get into this. What Kesey just pointed out. Those who have done access management, maybe you work for your IT help desk and you help people who, you help them get their AD credentials, their Access Directory credentials. Maybe you are a SharePoint administrator. This is specifically for people who work in the administrative side of technology or any business, and you're responsible for making sure people have access to Active Directories for uses on SharePoint. That's part of cybersecurity. These are things that you can pursue outside of what you're doing, and maybe you're making $20 an hour. You can now open yourself up to the idea of working in cybersecurity because you're kind of touching on a lot of that access management type stuff that you're already a little bit familiar with. So that becomes a very transferable skill. So I'm speaking to those who are outside of IT or they are in IT, but they're not doing software development or they're not sure how they can fit in. Kesey just showed you a window that's open for you.
Yep, exactly. And we got a lot of, like I said, me and Tolan actually have started a networking group of people who we're up to 100 plus people, but it's people who either switching industries, trying to figure out, how to get into certain things, how to transfer from one thing to another. But like I said, a lot of the stuff is related and touch each other. So
yeah. How do if anyone is interested in joining your group there, is it a cost or is there a initiation or what to get in this group?
Currently hit us at a good point right now. Right now we're in the helping phase. I'm in
the helping phase too, man. Especially when it comes to my black and brown people, man.
Right. Right. It may be a cost model at some point in time, but like I said, we are an LLC consulting company, and we're actually trying to ramp up so that we have once we get on the ground running, we actually have certified professionals to go say, okay, now Chick-fil-A, here we are. We got 15 plus certified individuals here who, we can put a role in, for. So, you know what I mean? So that's kind of what the background is, what we're kind of doing here.
Oh, you trying to create a agency of
staffing, filling gap staffing, on the cybersecurity front. Interesting.
Yeah, so we got, like you said, right now we have probably 100 people. Keezy has done a really great job setting up a lab, teaching them, we're showing them how to install CyberArk, how to implement it,
I'm terrible.
Getting them prepared for the certification. And so we're doing all that so that, once we start making bids, hey, you ain't got to go look for a job. We got you right here. And we'll understand and we'll know their work ethic. So it helps us we don't even have to go through that weeding out process because we've already been working with these people. We already see how committed they are. We already know their knowledge level because they've done the labs. They've been able to problems. So we in the group, everybody's helping. If somebody has a problem, I can't get the VM to install. I can't do this. They shoot a question in the chat. Somebody helps. Even on real life work projects, we all, if one of us run into a problem at work that we're not familiar with, we shoot it in a group. Hey man, have you ever seen this? And we all just, we in there, we helping each other move forward. But like I said, once we get that bid in, we start making those bids for companies to do implementations, we already got a pool resource right here. And it's, it's us. So
y'all trying to do a consulting firm?
Yes, that's what. Yes.
Not a staffing agency. Okay.
Yeah, consulting.
Have your guys on deck, ready to go in.
I like that.
And like I said, we're putting in people that have knowledge. Like Adrian joined us. You know what I'm saying? He's now a business analyst. We got some people looking to try to get into business analysis. You know what I mean? We also got project managers and we got project coordinators in. So we got people of all different aspects. You know what I mean? Not everybody's a technical engineer, and that may not be their path. You know what I mean? So it may be some other things that they can do that's in the area, and that's our main thing is you can join it, you know what I'm saying, but you got to, kind of get yourself there. And I'm trying to put the path of, different things you could take, is your different Udemy courses and your YouTube courses and your Khan Academies and all these different things just for you to kind of get some skill sets going and just, kind of push you there. We got the other thing that we offer that's excellent is because we are a LLC and because, we can vouch for it. We can put whatever it is as far as job experience on your resume. And if they call and check for a reference, yeah, he does it. Yeah, he did a great job. Yeah, he did it at this company. Yeah, okay, you're verified. There you go.
Ooh.
Yeah, we help with resumes. We actually help with the resume writing and making sure that your resume is tailored to fit what you're trying to do.
That's right there.
And a mock interview. We'll do a mock interview, which is
I'm about to say. Oh man, y'all guys coming with it tonight. I like that, man. Those are all. You have to have the resume. You have to
you gotta have those interview skills, be able to speak to. We've talked about this before. It's because getting the interview, you can write whatever you want on the interview. It's when they do that technical screen/interview is where a lot of people fumble up at, and that's where you got to be making sure you're doing the work of doing the reading, paying attention to the lab, learning the technology, and learning the methodology, learning the lingos, understanding how they connect with other departments. Because not just knowing how they connect with your department, you got to know how they interact with other work streams and other.
And you have to know how to. You have to learn how to control the interview.
Yes.
You have to know how to control the interview.
I tell people that all the time. I get in interviews and when they tell me to introduce myself, I try to give a thorough enough introduction and background to where it eliminates a lot of the technical questions.
Yes.
And it becomes a soft skill interview where they just start to see how you are as a person.
Because learning the lingo helps them to like not answer those technical. If you never, if the introduction you never mention nothing about technical or no terminology, no lingo, they gonna question you on the lingo. But if you get that all out the way, they may not come back to it. But they may come back to it.
They may come back to it. Like you said that.
Yep.
Tell me a little bit more about
you said something about Salesforce. Tell me more about. You got to jump on it.
And I tell people when you're being asked a question, in your mind, you really have to ask yourself, why are they asking me this? So that when you're giving your answer, you're answering the why within your answer. And it's a special skill that you have to learn to listen when they're asking you the question, but they're looking for something, so you can answer that why yourself. You can answer their question and give them that why, and that kind of helps eliminate some of those other questions too, because you're not just giving them the detail, that specific detail, you're giving them the big picture.
Yeah, and be honest. Like I tell people that all the time. If you don't know, there's a way to say I don't know. Don't just say I don't know. Yeah, I say well,
I say my experience has been, and then give them my experience.
In this particular instance, my experience has been limited in this subject matter, so this is not something I've had the experience to work on. Something like that. Don't just say I don't know. So,
right. Even if you had like maybe a 5% chance of working on that project, just mention that 5 or 10% you worked on.
Yeah.
You ain't got to be a master. I always say people, you don't have to master none of these systems. You don't have to master none of these. If you got the knowledge that you have, just use that. You don't have to be a master of all of it. You can just what a jack of all trades. It equates to this right here. As long as you adapt.
In that discussion, like Tona says, when he goes down a path about, speaking about the stuff technically, you actually can lure them because of the fact that you're like, hey, I'm going to talk about this because I want them to talk to me, ask me about this. So you got to be confident. Like if you go and you're hitting these areas, that's because you want them to come hit those areas because you know you're going to tear that area up.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's how you do that.
Let me tell you, this is a secret. About 20% of the people that are interviewing you understand every technical thing you're talking about. The other 80% just trying to make sure it makes sense to them, and they don't really know either. I can't even tell you how many, on the project management side, I can't even tell you how many people I've interviewed, and they're asking me something project management related. I'm giving them how I've used, a methodology, for example, or how I used something, a tool or something in my project management, and you'd be surprised that they're like, oh, okay, yeah, excellent. They have no damn idea what the hell I just said.
and the thing that you have to learn of all, regardless if it's project, if it's IAM, if it's a penetrator, if it's a sidebar engineer, you have to know how to go negotiate, because you're gonna lose a lot of money, leave a lot of money on the table. You can actually expose yourself that you are an imposter or that you are not familiar with the actual industry by the number you throw out.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that you
those inexperienced to the field, those new to tech.
Yes, you have to know how to negotiate, and you have to speak it. You have to make it seem to them like this is a deal y'all getting me for $65 an hour. This I should be charging y'all $70, but I'm a $65 an hour I take.
Now, one of the things that I do, I make them give me a number first.
Me too. I'm not giving them
I never give them a number. If they say, how much are we willing, what's your lowest? No, I'll say, well, what's the highest rate that you guys can come in at this?
I always ask this question because I worked on the operations side, so I worked on the other side. And I always ask them, what is the budgeted salary for this role? Because regardless of what I want, you already have a budget for this role. So I ask for what's the budgeted range so that I can get the low end and the high end, because no matter what I say, they already have a budget. So I ask for the budget.
So you answer a question with a question?
I sure do.
Okay.
Because if you don't, especially like when you're dealing with contracts and with companies, a contract company, they want to make more money. So if the company is willing to pay them $75 an hour, they're gonna tell you the highest we can go is 62 or 65. The less they give you, the more they get to keep on top.
Correct. And not only that, when it comes to these third parties, and again, I was on the operations side, so I know I know what they're charging as a bill rate to the customer.
Yes,
I know. Not only do I see, and this is why I'm a dangerous person, because I know that. I know what the market bill rate is for that retail, but I also know the cost rate. I know how much it's costing you to acquire me as a company. So I also know how much I know what your percentage that you're trying to maintain in between. So that's why my negotiation skills are different, because I know those three factors. It's not just the salary. I know how much it's costing you, and I know how much you're going to earn from me. So
I've had a statement of work before, and I was actually able to see all of that too. And that opened my eyes when I had to do that statement of work, and I saw what they were charging for the lead tech for me. And it was like, hey, but y'all charging for me.
And I don't want to discredit the method y'all use, but for the common person, that's going to be a little tough. For the person entering the market, but there's more stuff out there in the market where, like, I know for a BA, a data analyst, a scrum master, a project manager, I know every rate that you can probably throw at me, or any role that you can throw at me. I know the range, and I was giving them a range for a BA. And I was telling Tiffany, I remember I was in California and I was telling you this. I said I always, in my when they say, "Oh, how much are you looking to be compensated for this role?" or whatever, blah blah blah. I always tell them, I give them all the bells and whistles up front. I say, hey, based on my experience, my certifications, my time in this domain, and I'm rambling just about it because after you mention money, they don't hear nothing else.
Yeah.
So you have to give them everything, build them up, and then hit them across the head. I got 10 years of experience, and I think based on the market and what is fair, that word is so powerful, man. Fair. What is fair, I believe, is $65 an hour. And don't say nothing after that. If they pause, they think, and they at a crossroad. The hiring manager said they asked 63. They said, if they find somebody who had 65, 70, they'll take him, but he got to have enough experience. They heard all the experience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if I did like, I need 65, it'd have been like, nah, we can't do that. We can only do 60 because, they don't forgot all about what I was talking about, in the beginning part of the interview. But as I build up to it, tell them about my experience, about my my certifications, and I hit them right there, 65 an hour.
Let me ask y'all a question. Maybe it's just me, but I'm not even interviewing until I know the budgeted salary range.
I guess that's an advantage that we have.
I don't even want to talk.
When recruiters reach out to us, they send us a salary range before we even get submitted for jobs. Most of the time, they'll tell us this is the range for this job. So a lot of times we know that before we even get submitted.
That's protocol. But you will get someone that will let you get in front of that client. Yeah. And I just had that. And I said, you let me get in front of that client, I'm gonna eat that client up.
Yep.
You better give me the number. If you don't, he said, what number I gave my number. He didn't say nothing. I said, okay, you give me it's my old client. I know what makes them tick. They wanted to bring me on. The lady at HR called me and says, wow, I think you blew them away and this and that. And I said, well, I'm sorry, but we never talked about compensation. Oh, did y'all? No, we didn't. She told me the number's $10,000 less than what I want. I said, no, I'm good. Oh no, but we have excellent. I'm good, man. I'm sorry. I tried to tell y'all, if y'all don't tell me the number before I go in there, I'm gonna eat them up, and it's gonna be looking bad on y'all.
So I told this story before. I had a recruiter out of Atlanta, and he told me, mind you, he looked at my resume, saw my skills, saw where I work, blah blah blah. He told me that he gave me the range, and he told me that he didn't think I would get the top of the range because The client is very picky, and they probably won't even call me for an interview. So, I'm confident in my skills and my ability. So I said, okay, sure, go ahead, submit it, let's see what happens. He had to call me back 5 minutes later. And he said, I bet you didn't expect to hear from me so soon. And you know what I said? No, I bet you didn't expect to call me so soon. Client wants to meet with me. Met with the client, went through 3 rounds. I keep asking him, we have not agreed on the salary range. We haven't agreed on where I'm going to be at. You gave me the range. You told me you didn't think I qualified for the top of the range. But here, the client loves me. The client has told you I'm qualified. They're ready to bring me on board. He calls me back. The client is ready to proceed further. So what do you think? And I said, where are we at on the salary? And then he proceeds to tell me, well, I can't ask for more money. I can't ask for the top of the range. So I told him I absolutely could ask for the top of the range. And if you're not able to give it to me, I'm going to decline. And I was okay with walking away from that opportunity. I was stacking it anyway, but that doesn't matter. The point being, be willing to walk. This is not a game for the faint of heart. Now, they flash that little money you probably ain't never made in your life in front of you. You just can't reach for it because you got to be smart in this game.
You do. I wanted to hold this right here from my guy Keymaker. We can switch to this topic here for a short moment. Get back on the cybersecurity here. We got what's up, everyone? Have any of you come across a lot of contract jobs that allow you to work outside of the United States? Tiffany and I have talked about a few companies in the beginning part of this year, but a lot of US based companies they don't like it. They don't like it because of 2 reasons. Well, maybe 3, tying into the show. They don't like it because of the legal reasons. Like there's certain, like when you get paid, like when you first got to a job, you put your address on the application and you submitted everything you got on the job, right? You're paying the state tax where you supposed to be living. Now, if you travel all around the world, you're not working in the place where you're supposed to be living. So there's that tax obligation there too. That's what the other thing I've heard is the issue. And then there's the cybersecurity part of it. There is your firewall. You have a international IP addresses are blacklisted from the firewall, so they won't make it through. Hence why you need a VPN to get through the firewall, masking as like you're in Detroit or whatever. Right. And that's the only way you can do it, which Keymaker, I know where you at, man. I know where you at. So I hope that answered your question, man.
Well,
so
I just want to add, Keymaker, you can look for companies that have global offices. Yes. I know people who work for companies that have offices in Germany. They have offices in London. They have offices in India, and they've gone to offices in Germany. They've worked from, they've traveled and went to Italy and Paris and London and lots of international travel while still working. So,
right. And like my guy Los, who's in this chat, I seen his message. We're gonna get to his messages in a minute. But then there's another thing of you got to approach is the work visa. It all depends if it's I forgot all the legal reasons, but there are ways that you can work temporarily in other countries. But what Keymaker is talking about, he wants to roam. He don't want to be stationed in
be a digital nomad.
England. Yeah, he wants to. Yeah, so. He's not really.
Yeah, for that, like she said, you just need to find a job with an international presence that, like some companies like SunTrust, they'll allow you to go overseas, but you have to check out a different laptop for that small. It is only for a short time period, so you have to use a different laptop while you're traveling, and then when you get back, you have to turn it back in. But there are some companies that have a presence, and you just have to use your VPN. It just depends on the company, though.
Yeah.
Or you can do question, Keymaker. And that's just do it anyway. Travel internationally anyway.
BLB says, can you hack my child support back? All right, no sorry, Bobby Brown liquor. All right. Tiffany responded. We got Los. That's what I was mentioning. My guy Los, he moved to Colombia, got his work visa. I believe he's working for I'm not sure if it's a Euro or a US company, but he's stationary, he's not moving around. He's within Colombia, working in Colombia. So great story with my guy there. Los D, Crypto King. He has a great YouTube channel as well too. If you can check him out, it's Learn Crypto TV is his channel on YouTube. So definitely check him out. Tell him I brought you through. Learn Crypto TV. Los D again, Mocha. Okay.
I think
ISC 2 is giving away 1 million certs for free. Yeah, that's what the CISM, CISA, CISSP, they all fall under that organization. I didn't know about the 1 million certs for free though. I know they have like the CC, because I was looking into some of those certs as well too. I hopefully after this, before we leave, kind of create like a little roadmap of certain things people need to do in order to get into it.
I saw a question. I don't see it. It says, where should a person start that has no experience in IT?
That's right here.
Cybersecurity career.
Yeah, we were just I was just mentioning that what we should kind of lay out before we leave. And we kind of was tapping into it earlier. Y'all mentioned certifications, but like, are all certifications the same? Like, because I hear Okta all the time. I hear what's the other big? Like, I never heard of CyberArk until I met y'all.
Yeah. CyberArk is actually the industry leader for privileged access management.
Right.
Okay.
And like you said, privileged access is the most vulnerable accounts of any company. So that's where those privileged accounts need to go into a product like CyberArk.
Yeah, but a lot of companies have their own homegrown stuff, but they're going to CyberArk or Ping or some other software.
Okay, so because I want to bring back up that because this is kind of like what helping me to understand, like there's the framework or the components of cybersecurity, and that because
so
here, go ahead.
That right there, the frameworks, I mean, that for an initial or beginning person, this right here can be probably overwhelming and intimidating to look at the different layers and security layers and all the different things. I'm gonna answer that person's last question. They said, how do you get started? And we just did a whole hour on the weekend, me and Tolan and Frank and Kyle, in regards to getting started. There's so many different avenues of it. Right. There's so many different courses, like we said, YouTube videos, CyberArk, certification courses, trainings, technical colleges, getting all the stuff on your own. You could buy a course, you could buy a whole series of whatever, you know what I mean? But basically it's familiarizing yourself, and then you got to figure out which way it is you want to go. When you spoke about the products, like you got Okta, you got SailPoint, you got what's the other one? Salesforce. You got Salesforce. You got all the different MFA products, multi-factor authentication products, Duo, all these different things that you can actually kind of go and like bury into and learn about, educate yourself about. They're hiring for those little specific things. Even Active Directory, the basics, but the basis behind all of those are different things that you can kind of like isolate, learn about, and even get employment in that one area, and then you can kind of work yourself and go further out from there. But I was just answering that question of how to get started.
Right. So one, you need to find what direction you want to go in. And that's where that's kind of like the reason why I had the framework up there to, like, if you want to, like, because the tech would be like penetrator. Is that what, if you want to be a penetrator?
Yep.
Yeah, penetration testing, vulnerability management, stuff like that.
And is that ethical hackers as well too?
Yep.
Yeah.
The thing about the hackers
that too, because they teach you what to look for.
Yeah, the thing about the hackers and the penetration testing, that's a nice background in coding. So if you ain't into coding and programming, you don't want to go that route.
Okay. So there's levels to this. We learning there is levels to it.
What about vulnerability?
So vulnerability is.
Oh, go ahead, Keith.
Go ahead. That's something kind of like in the area where a lot of project management, project coordinators, and business analysts and stuff fall into, because you're basically, your company has certain things it has to do to stay viable. You know what I mean? Like, you got your patches. So say your Windows servers are not up to par, or you're running something like an old Adobe Flash or something.
Like old versions of Java. Yeah.
Yes, old Java, old Adobe. So basically that vulnerability management team is keeping track of, okay, you got these holes on these servers, so hey, you possibly can get hacked in this area. So they basically keeping track of it and making sure that you're doing it in a timely manner with your patching and all the other different things.
Yep, because it's the beginning of the year, and so a lot of companies are going through that right now, and that is vulnerability management, but they're also remediating. So what happens is those vulnerabilities are identified, and then they're given to the project manager, and then that project manager is responsible for a plan to remediate all of those vulnerabilities.
Yes. And that's where, along with that vulnerability, compliance falls into that too, because you have to make sure that accounts are in compliance. Like, if you scan your system and you find out that passwords haven't been changed in 8 years, and it's a password that accesses a server, that's going to fall out of compliance. And especially now with banks, they are being audited left and right with SOX audits, and that's what's causing them to have to get these privileged access programs in place, because they have what you call service accounts that are just out there that has access to ATM records and all that type of stuff, and they have no way of protecting those passwords. So if a hacker was to get one of those accounts, because it resides on a system that nobody actually uses because it's not interactive, so nobody actually controls that account. If a hacker gets that account, everything that account has access to, they'll be able to see. And that's how they end up getting people's bank records and being able to hold banks ransom. I worked at a hospital in New Orleans where the hospital got shut down and held for ransom, for a couple $1 million, and they had to pay it before they were gave them back access to their own files. And that with service accounts, and that's why SOX they having a lot of audits to kind of mitigate that stuff.
Well, I heard that was part of the reason what happened with, remember that all the airlines shut down and there was a no-fly for 4 hours?
Yeah, more than likely.
And they were going from one system to another.
And that's why you got job security in this field.
and that's why I kind of wanted to jump into it.
Me too.
That's definitely you in IT, you have to be 6 months ahead of the curve, man, because everything goes stale and discontinued. So you can't, to survive in IT, you have to always be an avid learner. I'm always behind this computer learning something on Udemy, on LinkedIn classes, Coursera. You have to be in that. You can't just say, "Oh, I made it." It just they're gonna come tap you on the shoulder after a while. Like, hey, we gonna
be comfortable with being uncomfortable, because you're gonna be uncomfortable.
Right. I wanted to show this here. The components, because we talked about We talked about a lot of things with the components here, and I think for the viewers, if you really want to get, I think this access management is a good way for people who've been at help desk, no experience. It seems like a easy path, or more of a beginner's path to more advanced. If you want to go more advanced in cybersecurity, what do you say, Tola?
Yeah. This is just like Kesey was saying earlier, because this is the basic fundamental of access. Where when you log in, everybody starts at a company. You get your login, you get your password. So what access management does, a lot of companies, even for your basic passwords, you're gonna find in the very near future where even to log into your computer, you're gonna need multi-factor authentication. Me personally, even on my social media and stuff, I have multi-factor authentication, because if you try to get into anything of mine, my email, my Gmail, it's gonna ask you for a phone number to send a code to. And that's what a lot of companies are gonna go to, because a lot of times people may walk away from their computer. And one of the habits that people have, because the password complexity now is so long in some companies, they write their password down on a piece of paper and leave it on the desk.
Mm-hmm.
Or they put it on their desktop in a notepad that says password. And so if a hacker gets that, they got your access. And so that's where that multi-factor comes in, because if they only have that password, they still won't be able to do anything, because they don't have that second layer of authentication.
Yeah.
Like passwords down is wild. That is wild.
It's funny. I just read that today on our contract I'm starting. They have Microsoft Azure MFA, and I didn't know Microsoft Azure had an MFA. But that's ironic you just mentioned that. Yeah, because those are all things that people do, even with putting their password as their name or something like that. Another question was, before we leave, because we are definitely over an hour. This has been a great show here. So let's look at certifications, whether it be I felt like Security Plus was just like a safe base level. It could really get your foot in the door type certification. What do you all think about that?
Yeah, Security Plus and A Plus. Those are your basic. A Plus is just your basic desktop stuff. So it teaches you the basics. And then Security Plus teaches you the basics of network security, from physical security, like just saying, hey, like some of the questions are literally, if somebody's walking behind you, do you let them in or do you make them badge in themselves? So it covers the bare basics. So getting those two certifications will show that you have the basic understanding of computers and network security. And that will definitely get you in the door, because they'll be able to see that you do understand that there is a need for security and you understand the basic concepts for it.
And materials, I know I use Udemy a lot. Udemy is my source for a lot of it. Sometimes YouTube, I mean, they're all made by certain people that could tell you whatever to do, but I just feel like sometimes YouTube can be just a little overload. Did you use any type of or online courses like Coursera, Simply Learn, or something like that? Because I Simply Learn has a 12 hours cybersecurity. Actually, I got they were an extension of getting me my Scrum Master certification, so I kind of messed with Simply Learn a good bit. They all ran about Indians anyway, but what do y'all say about coursework? Kesey running through the house.
Kesey need a Segway for his house.
Well, I'm now walking into my 21-year-old son's apartment here, who's living very nicely here in top of Atlanta. Who's also in IT security.
Look at that.
Yeah.
But me personally, I only have Security Plus. I got that while I was still on active duty in the Marines, and then I have my CyberArk Sentry and Defender. But like you said, Udemy is a really, really good resource, and like it's one of those things where you're gonna have to invest, in your future. That's that thing we have a tendency to where we'll go spend thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in college. But if we see a course that's like $400 that could probably get us the same salary that 4-year degree could, and we'll look at it like, man, that's too much for one class. But in college, you're paying that much for those hours, and I've been blessed, and I can't say nothing less than that because I don't have a degree. I went to college, but I got bored. I joined the Marines, and I never went back and finished my degree. But my salary doesn't show you that,
Right.
Man, that I can make for my salary because of my experience. I get it. My experience, compensates for that lack of degree, being in IT over 20 years. But at the same token, we just have to get out of that mindset where we don't want to invest in certain things because we feel like it's not going to make a difference. Because, being in the Marines, and I was a recruiter, there was, years I talked to people with college degrees who couldn't find a job, so the military was their last resort, and they coming out with $50,000-$60,000 worth of debt with a degree that's not benefiting them at the time.
Right.
You can go spend $400, maybe $2,000 on a course that is going to almost guarantee you a job and to give you elevate you over time. And so, but we'll look at certain things like that's too much money to spend on something like that. Whereas, we got to invest in our future. We'll invest in these get rich quick schemes, stuff like that. We'll go spend thousands and thousands on lottery tickets.
FanDuel.
Invest in something that we can almost pinpoint and guarantee that this is going to result in me being able to elevate my life. And we just have to get out of that mindset.
Yeah, and I want to piggyback off of that as well. I didn't get my college degree until 2020 during the pandemic, and I've been working in software development since 2005 with no degree. And I was even told by people from Starbucks, and if you want to get ahead in this career, you're going to have to get a degree. Now, I ultimately went back during the pandemic and finished my degree, but I'm telling you, I already have the contract I have now before I finish my degree. So, and I've stacked and had multiple opportunities, and I didn't have a degree until 2020. So it's possible. You just have to I did several certifications though. I think I got 4 different certifications during that time that I didn't have a degree. And every certification added different marketable skills to my resume and gave me different opportunities. So I think you showing that you're willing to self-invest in yourself, in your skill set, is what employers are looking for. And if you're saying that and showing that by your certifications during the interview process, you're going to increase your chances of getting hired versus someone who's just relying on their degree.
And let me tell you the hack with just getting your certification. A lot of times it's not that they're trying to quiz you on what you learned from your certification, but it actually just eliminates that other conversation that you would have had to have if you didn't have the certification. So it's almost like you got your seal of approval by them seeing it, and they may not even question you about your what. They still kind of question me, cause
they gonna question us, but
they always,
it does remove a little bit more bound.
It removes some of it. They may ask you about 1 or 2 instead of 20 freaking questions.
Your black ass still gonna get it, so just recognize.
but it'll get your foot in the door. It definitely will get your foot in the door. That it will do. They see it, but once they see they're gonna ask you some more questions.
Absolutely.
But this is what Los was talking about, which he broke this on the Travelmatic Mondays. It's 1 million certified in cybersecurity, closing the global workforce gap with 1 million free exams and courses. This is pretty good. Definitely look into this.
We've been sharing that link in our group the past week or so as well. It's definitely all you gotta do is go in and create a profile, and they basically, like, this is a free certification, and they're probably gonna try to ramp you to get you to one of the higher certifications that they offer under that company as well. But this is a great start. Can't beat it.
Adrian, can you drop the link in chat for those who are in chat?
Sure. What is it? Because I saw they had the cybersecurity certification, which I think is like their base level. Then it goes up from there. But yeah, y'all check that out. I will leave it in the description too. Y'all have been talking. Let me jump on here and finish the rest of these out here. Okay, so we can let these people go here, man. We've just been having a good time here. I have an IT professional certification. I am just struggling to get my first entry level job with no job experience. I am open to even internships. Any advice? You need to beef your resume up, man, or lady. To myself, like, beefing the resume up, understanding what direction you want to go. IT professional could be anything you want to be. You want to be on the project side, you want to be on the operations side, you want to be security side, kind of know which way you want to go, and then understanding that domain. I also would look at probably if you're on the project side, understanding one platform, whether or not it's Salesforce, ServiceNow, Tableau. Those are kind of like some hot ones that are if you put Salesforce in your degree, as my guy Jermaine knows, the minute we put Salesforce on there and Salesforce analyst, they knocking his door down. Salesforce, ServiceNow. Just be ready. Just be ready, because the opportunity gonna come, but you have to be ready. People who are not ready, the people you're going to interview with, they know if you know your shit or not. They know within the first 5 minutes if you know your stuff or not. So if you don't want to be blown out the door in 5 minutes, you need to know the talk and know the lingo. You need to know how to talk like a project guy, how to talk like you know Agile, and how to like you know Scrum, like you know project management, what things a coordinator does. So so I hope that answers your question there. And we're gonna try and hook you all up with what's the name of your company, Tolan?
GTG, Generational Technology Group. I was trying to put it in the background, but when I tried to change it, my computer started acting all crazy, so I just left it off. But you can hit
you can put it in the back chat. I don't know why my I can't.
Yeah, basically the site is generationaltechgroup.com, and we accepting resumes and everything. So generationaltechgroup.com, there's a submit resume button there on the website as well. But
there you go, Classically Slow. Submit your resume.
You said
generationaltechgroup.com.
Tech. Okay. This is y'all right here. This is y'all right here?
Yes, sir.
All right. Nice. Got the website up there. And y'all can receive information from there?
Yep. On the contact us page, and also under the contact us page is a submit resume button. Yeah.
Cool. I got the plug right there. Generational Tech Group.
I'm about to get my certification.
Yeah, gotta get to work. Yeah, that's me, Mocha, and that's it. Okay. Oh, I see it there now. Okay. And I will put Tolan's email right here. All right, man. I appreciate y'all so much for coming on. This has been a good one. You know, I don't like to run over, but when it's good,
it's cool. It happens.
Yes. But Kesey, I'll be in contact with you this week, man. I'm definitely gonna get that VM put on and try to get that CyberArk put down on mine and get on this. And turn my alerts on. Because my phone just be going crazy with all kind of stuff and all this stuff, man. I be needing a little peace sometimes. And I see y'all be talking in there. Y'all be talking in the group chat group.
Yeah.
So I need to catch up on that. I need to get me some rest too because I'm tired. Tiffany, what you got? It's track season. It's track season, so I've had meets the last 2 weekends. I got a break coming up, and I'm right back at it. So make sure y'all catching any NCAA, any high school, and definitely any professional meets that are coming. We got some big meets happening in the U.S. this year. I hope to catch you guys. You know, I'm going to bring you a little bit of track information, a little bit of track news, and definitely my travels that are coming up. Got a couple of trips already booked, but I'm gonna keep that on the low for right now. But you can always catch me at Sports and Heels on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and also my website, which is www.sportsandheels.com. Yes, ma'am. All right, Kesey and Tolan, I appreciate y'all coming on. Any parting words for y'all? Y'all got to come back on, man. We got a lot of things that touch, man. I didn't know y'all was a contract, all that good stuff, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we work very, very parallel to, you know, what your show does. You know what I mean? We're remote. We like traveling, and we also work in IT security and everything. So, you know, we're very parallel. So we're like cousins with you.
But like cousins, man. Y'all are cousins, man.
Yeah. But you know, I actually, like I do my show, I hit different topics. You know, I may hit a topic on IT security or whatever as well. As far as you can catch me on Kicking It with Kesey on YouTube,
that's
Instagram, all of that stuff.
You got a YouTube channel?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna put it in the title and the link. Send it to me on the back chat.
It's just at Kesey Show. You can just tag me on your description at Kesey Show. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, I'll tag you onto this one.
Yep.
Cool.
All right, Kesey, feel free to bring us on your show.
Oh yeah, y'all coming, y'all, you know, definitely.
I was supposed to come over there on Saturday, but I was so tired and I had to return this rental car. I was out in Puerto Rico, and that's hence my background here. I think I was coming from there that day. I was doing a lot of filming, so I got a lot of stuff coming out for Puerto Rico. I had a great time, a lot of work. I did that, a little fun too. But all right, man. I appreciate y'all. Until next time, I will check y'all out, and I'm gone.
Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.